We can move this all the way to retirement. As you see here, we're pretty young still. We've got kids. We have a couple negative numbers here on cash flow. We're going to have to deal with those. And we're at 29, 30. We got to go all the way. Look how far. Ooh, a little dizzy there. 67, 68. So we've got quite a ways to go here. But a lot of this stuff will stay consistent. And so we're going to assume it's consistent until we make adjustments. We have our house payments in here. They will be the same. I've updated the taxes from 4,500 the first year, and I've increased them to up 3% based on our 3% inflation and the original 4,500 number. So the way I did that, I'm just going to put this back at 4,500. Which is what it was. It was just a regular number. See, it's just a regular number. The way to do that, if you want to do that quickly and easily, is you have 4,500, here's the number, and you want to increase it by 3% every year. Well, this number below it, right here, happens to be increasing at 3%. So the easy way to do this is just take this cell and wait till you get the little black X on it and drag it up, and then it copies the formula onto this cell. So when it copies the formula, it takes the dollar signs and leaves them constant, so it stays on the 3%, but it moves up the first cell to reference the cell next to it. So that's an easy way to copy and change this. And of course, this cell is now referencing this cell, and if I drag it one more, then this cell will reference this cell. So that's how the formula gets drug across. I'm going to clear that so I can do all of these. All of these look good to me. We have a big jump here. That big jump is for food and household maintenance. We're going to have increase in household maintenance for the house for sure, and so I'm going to leave that, even though it seems like quite a big jump. Even if you're married, you usually don't eat twice as much food and so on. You can save in a lot of things, but let's just leave that up there because you're probably going to spend close to $1,000 a month, especially once you get kids. We've got some cushion in here for the kids, but let's leave that number in there for now. We can always pare it back, right? That's a flexible number. So if this is all true and it's going to continue, we can just drag this over. And then if this is all true and it's going to continue, we can drag this over. This is already in. This is already in. Those are not going to continue. What else is going to happen? Total expenses. Well, this will continue. This is the sum of the whole column. So this will definitely continue. And then this number, which is the amount of money we have after tax minus our expenses, is this number. So that's definitely going to continue. So we'll take that across. And I think we're ready to move much further across this. So here's one of the things. If we drag this across, we'll wipe out anything that's still here. So we have to drag it across in sections. And the way we do that is we just highlight the ones that are not going to have anything in front of them. Look, make sure there's nothing in front of you. And we start dragging. So you can see that my screen, I'm going to go past the window that you can see just for speed, but all I'm doing is dragging it. The wider you make your screen, the easier it is to drag. And I'm dragging it quite a bit. I went well past, you can see I went up to 80. I went well past our retirement age. Well, why? Because my expenses are going to go beyond that. So I'm going to just take this on out to our 98 years. No reason not to. We can always delete it. So let's go back here and take these expenses that are going to, that expense is going to end. So let's take this across and we'll drag it. And we'll drag this all the way across. Keep going. I'm going to keep going all the way to the end. And we drag it. We drug it. Drug it, dragged it, and we drug it. Okay, so that's done. We have all of these other numbers that are involved here. These don't continue. These are one-offs. This does continue. this does continue, and these numbers do continue too. But let's just take these two numbers right here, and this is our savings and our checking account, or excuse me, our total expenses. Then we have from savings and checking if we take any money away from them, and then we have our cash flow. So let's take this and take these out all the way across. And we'll just keep going all the way to the end. And you can see we went all the way to 98 years old. We get a little dizzy going back, and we have some numbers. Okay, the amount of cash flow is a definite issue. I'm going to expand this just a little bit so you don't have the pound signs in there. And so the cash flow is a little negative here, and then it turns positive and we start doing better. Part of that is paying off the bills and so on. So we just have some tight cash flow here. Now, is this important? Of course, absolutely, because this is real money. You're short of money here. On the other hand, remember that what have we done? We've got degrees that we're paying for in school loans. We have now 2 kids. Well, here we have 2 kids that we're affording, and a house. So we have school loans, house loans, kids. That's very expensive. And you're working, which means you're paying for childcare, and that's very expensive. Even though you've got a good number coming in, it's not that easy. Now, a couple of things we could do here to get this 12,000 down. One is, let's look at our 401k. We could borrow against that. We don't want to do that. We have 6,000 savings, and we have 9,000 here, which will offset this 3,000. And then we have 18,000 here and 6,000 here. We have 6,000 in savings and 6,000 here. It's going to be less than that when we get rid of the first one. So we're going to be short here. We're going to have to cut something out of our budget or save some money. Now, one of the things that we already took out was this vacation. So the vacations are out. We don't have a lot of extra money in there for that. We do have restaurants and going out, which is $2,700, and we have food and household items that are $10,000. And these are going to be somewhat, useful or non-negotiable items. You're going to have to spend something on it. So let's see what we can do here. The first thing is we need to get rid of this $3,000 here and make this cash flow even. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove 3273 from the savings and checking, and this number is going to be, where to go? This number is I7, which is I7 is up here. I7, and this number is total expenses down here. And then what we're going to do is plus this number equals, and we end up with 0. Now what we have to do here to make sure that this actually represents the correct way, we took out $30,000 out of here already to pay off the other loan, and so now we're going to take out another 3273. So we're going to take out minus 3273, enter. So you can see that we took this 3273 as an expense from checking and we took it out of checking. So maybe we want to put a note there, and we just do insert comment, and this I'll show you. You can just wipe out the Microsoft comment. We didn't do that. It says took 3273 from checking to cover cash flow loss. And that will be our little note there that we can see what we did. Over here is did 5,000 to pay off credit card. Over here we added 5,000 due to marriage, and so on. So we've got a little notes in here about what's going on. We've got an idea on how to get it to zero here. Here is $12,000 we're short. We have $6,000 in checking. We have $6,000 in savings. We're about to be broke. The next year is $6,000 in negative as well. Then we finally get to it. So we're going to have real trouble walking through this field, this area. So there's a couple things we could do. One is this $24,000 in childcare. That could be high, and we could lower that. This $10,000 in food and beverage and stuff, we could do that. And going out, $2,782 and going out, I think we could probably get rid of that as the easiest thing. The other thing we can do here is we're putting $4,800 into our savings. We can omit savings at $4,800 this year. So, in fact, that's the easiest thing to do is stop saving money if we're spending too much. So let's take 1 year off this. And if we take 1 year off this, I'm going to make sure that was correct. That added, if I take 1 year off that and just make it zero, we have $92,000 now. And this number goes down from 12 to 102, so I'm only 10,000 short, and if I undo it, I'm 12,000. So you can see it saved me $4,800. So that's one thing to do. The other thing, I'm still 9,000 short, and I have 12,000 in here. So let's leave the spending in there and just say we're going to not put money into our 401k, and then take out, I'm going to take this across, I'm going to take out this 9,000 out of savings and out of checking. So this is a little more complicated. I know I'm going to end up short next year too, and I don't want to, but I can offset that again with the, in fact, that's another thing, is I need to put this 4,800 back in. So 4,800, enter, puts all that 4,800 back in. Well, now I'm 6,000 short next year. So it's the kids and all this. This will save a little bit. This is getting very hard to do because you're really tight on cash. So we might want to think about the easy thing to do here. I hate to do it. How about a family of one? That solves the problem. Let's say we push the second kid off. We're only 31 years old. We push the kid off a little bit. So all of a sudden we've got more money built up, and we can afford them a little bit more in our lives. So what we're going to do is push the second child a little bit, and now, this is unbelievable for you parents, right? Is now, oh look, now we can afford the second child. So if we look at this, we have 1,800, but we have 24,000 in there, and then we take this number across. Aha! So the lesson here, if for those of you who are parents, if you have a child here, your second child, if you wait a couple of years, you can build your bank account back up and still put into your 401k. We only had to miss 1 year of our 401k here, and we might be able to get away with that if we scrimped and saved and put some more money in. We also got rid of this payment. This is our wedding. We spent a lot of money on the wedding. You could reduce your wedding by $10,000. That would help too. So anyway, you can see the process here. We're just going to make decisions, and we make decisions based on our income and our expenses, and we got to make this cash flow line at least zero every year. So when we say zero, we just take it out of checking. In other words, your checking account balance went down, and your cash flow was zero because your checking account balance went down. We took $3,200 out of checking here. We ended up with a zero balance in our cash flow. No problem. We're down at $1,807 here. That's positive cash flow. No problem. You can see our cash flow is actually rising here. So now we can start thinking about what we're going to spend money on. I'll save the rest for the last, but you can see we're getting all the way out there, and our bills are starting to get paid, and we're starting being cash flow positive, so we can start adding stuff back in. And so we've got a real handle now. If we handled our child situation, it helped us. Now, if you happen to have the other child, you have to realize that now we have to make some more adjustments. That's when the planning gets tough, and you can have short-term problems if you don't plan ahead. So you can see the big deal in planning right here was, let's hold off on the second child for a couple of years and make sure we've got enough money to be able to afford the second daycare and that kind of thing. So that'll get us for this video. The next video, we'll get all the way to retirement and wrap it up. Thanks for watching.